Recently, I was pointed to History Behind the Warriors video on MK11 Sindel following his main video on her history post MK11. Honestly, I think he made some good points, and this is not me attempting to debunk his claims nor claim that his video was aimed at me in any way. His video simply brought up some good points that I don't think I've adequately explained my stance on, which I feel I need to in order to finally close the book on Sindel until I start to cover MK11 on Wasted Potential next year. First, HBTW suggests that this Sindel is non-canon, citing Triborg's questionable canonicity as evidence. This is a fair point. However, canon or not, this portrayal can, and likely will, influence Sindel's portrayal going forward, especially if the current writers stick around and are as proud of the changes they claim, or if new writers come along and aren't well versed on the series lore, as Kittleson himself was not when he started, as evidenced by the comic. If this Sindel appears in a story mode in the new timeline, I worry that it will be harder to fix her. Sure, maybe they'll try to make this her starting point before she develops into the classic Sindel, but I don't know how believable such a thing would be. We need whoever writes MK12 to know that this Sindel is not accurate and is incredibly divisive so that they can take that into account when planning her portrayal in the next timeline. Another thing he suggested is that this was the writers experimenting with Sindel, which, yes, is better than doing it in the canonical story mode since it's easier to roll back if the fans don't like it. However, I still feel that the mental manipulation explanation inherent with Sindel's history would still be the ideal way to try this out. Sindel acts like this is how things were due to the brainwashing making her think it is. Edenians, Outworlders and Gods all acknowledge that this is not right, as does her ending, but there is enough material of her acting like a bitch to test the waters and gauge fan reactions before deciding if this is how she really is going forward. And one last thing which wasn't really discussed by HBTW, from a business standpoint, wouldn't keeping Sindel accurate garner more sales? As is, fans who don't care about the change will buy it, but fans who do care and haven't bought the Kombat pack are likely to not buy it in disgusted protest. If she was true to her character, fans who don't care would still buy it, but so would fans who do care and are happy to see her back to her old self for the first time since 2006. So no, I don't think WB pushed NetherRealm to make this change, as a number of people have claimed. Changes they demand would be things that make them more money. They don't care about the creative side unless it affects their bottom line. I know it's tempting to believe that the little guy is doing the best he can, but the big bad company is forcing him to do bad things, but you're just not being realistic here. Now, let's be real, the real reason they changed it is likely that Shao Kahn forcing her to marry him is easy to imagine involving him raping her, but this can easily be avoided without a contradictory retcon. Given that, to our knowledge, he never once took another wife, just say that Shao Kahn genuinely was in love with her, hence why he took her as his bride instead of killing her, and was so confident in his power and charisma that he believed she would come to love him in time, especially if he did small things for her such as allowing Kitana to live. As such, he planned to wait for this moment before sleeping with her, as he was originally portrayed as a patient man, but it never came to pass as she killed herself before that could happen. As for her time under mind control, as mind-controlled sex can easily be viewed as rape, just say that even if he was willing to do it now, he at least planned to wait until Earthrealm was his, finally having sex with the much coveted Sindel as a big celebration. That doesn't come to pass in either timeline, however, as Sindel is taken away from him. There, no major alterations regardless of which version of her story you follow, and proof that there was never any rape. Of course, this is all assuming that they genuinely were just worried about those implications and didn't put enough thought into how to avoid that, since they seem to think retcons are some flex tape like fix-all. It's equally possible, given how they keep using the word privilege, that Sindel's story has been hijacked to make some kind of ill-conceived statements about white or financial privilege. I just desperately want whoever came up with the retcon to explain their thought process, because I can't come up with a justification that is in any way satisfying. And that should be it for Sindel related content until next year's MK11 coverage. Does this mean I'm done taking jabs at NetherRealm for how badly they botched her? Hell no. They fucked up royally, haha, with this one, and as far as I'm concerned, it's fine to continue demanding an explanation from the writers until they actually give us one. All we have for now is Stephanie Brownback's justification for why she likes the change, which stands as the only explanation to come from a NetherRealm employee, making it the de facto official explanation, and it's a bad one. I mean, we also have Dominic's supposed explanation, but that's just, we could have kept her consistent or changed her, and for reasons I won't provide, we changed her. Why is NetherRealm so bad at this whole PR thing? If you're looking for something a little more true to the original Sindel, I've not only written 3 chapters of Mortal Kombat Chronicles centered around classic Sindel set during MK3, after MK4 and during Deception, but also a set of intros for Sindel against the full MK11 cast, including leaked characters and NPCs, and including the absent version-specific intros. If you liked this video, why not subscribe and support me on Patreon like these fine people here? If not, then make sure to share it with your enemies so they can suffer along with you. Today's recommended video is, well, the one that inspired this video. I mean, what else did you think it was going to be? XX NetherRealm Fanboy 69 XX's why MK11 is the best fighting game of all time? Fucking no.